Thank you for coming tonight, folks. We have quite an agenda tonight. Steve's not here. He and his family are on a nice vacation, and I've been asked. I've done this for 10 years before Steve and his group took it over. Let's see if I can still get back into it without making a lot of fumbles. What we're going to do first is we're going to have Jimmy, our police officer, come up and give us a little talk. And then we have somebody here from Standard Insulating, Shannon Wheet. She's going to talk about the NYSERDA deal. And if anybody's got any questions after that, we got 3 school board candidates that we'll introduce you to that are running for a vacated position on the school board. And after that, we'll get to our Joe Beatrice, our councilman of North Utica, and also Mike Galimi, our county legislator. Mike Gentile, I'm sorry.
Close enough.
Mike Galimi too. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Jimmy and give you some information.
There's not much to report to you, just like last month, or about 98 calls for service within a week. I know Ron asked about an incident on Deerfield Drive East. I didn't find anything. So I don't know. It could have been, he said there was an issue with a telephone pole. I think maybe sometimes National Grid or DPW, if they're fixing a pole or if they're replacing one, they'll call dispatch or they'll call the station and say, hey, can you have 2 officers block the road? And I think that's probably what happened, but there's no incident recorded in our system. But other than that, that's it. It's getting nice out, so like I always say, whenever it gets nice out, the call volume goes up, whether it be North Utica, East, West, South Utica. So just make sure you're watching out for each other and report anything suspicious. There's no stupid calls. So some people, they see something, they don't want to call us because like, nah, they got better things to do. No, just you see something, call us, let us go, figure it out, and that's that. But that's all I got for you guys, unless you got. I'll be here for a few more minutes. A phone number?
For the police station?
Yeah, yep, I'll give you that.
In case there is a problem?
Absolutely.
Is there any other questions for Jim? The reason I asked Jim to look into the deal on Deerfield Drive East, the other night, my wife and I were going to a hockey game. We went to turn to go in front of Kennedy School, and I noticed there's a telephone pole that was broken 3 different pieces. Wires were hanging down in the street. There was a police car there. They had the police barriers near Elmdale and down near Larchmont. They had that whole area blocked off. The next day, I went by there again. They have replaced the pole, and they still had the road blocked off. But like he says, sometimes when things like that happen, they're not reported as an accident or vandalism or anything like that. It's just maybe it was an act of God, act of nature. I don't know. But it's a good thing that people were there, and hope none of you people had any problems getting around it. Okay, now I'd like to introduce Shannon Wheet from Standard Insulating, and she's going to be talking to us about the NYSERDA program, correct?
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Wheet. I work with Standard Heating, Cooling, and Insulating.
Could you,
I've never been told to speak
we
up.
also have people on Zoom. Could you just turn the microphone, please? Thank you.
My name is Shannon Wheat. I'm with Standard Heating, Cooling, and Insulating. I've been there about 12 and a half years, and I'm here to talk to you about some of the NYSERDA programs that are available to everyone, whether you're a renter or homeowner. There's Empower. We do a lot of advertising about getting free energy upgrades. If you don't think you qualify, call. Anyway, it's not a typical New York State program. We have a whole team dedicated to help figure out what program, rebate, or incentive would suit you best. We help with the entire application process. We help with everything. You have an advocate basically start to finish throughout that time frame that you're doing your project. Empower, which is my favorite. I actually took advantage of it when I first started at Standard, is a free energy upgrade program through New York State. It does insulation, gas furnaces, hot water tanks, refrigerators, even air source heat pumps. You can get up to $10,000 worth of upgrades for your home for free. The money is coming from the SBC charge off the National Grid bill, so at some point or another, we paid into it. So take advantage of it. And it's not like a typical New York State program. It can go based on the last 4 weeks. It can go based on last year's adjusted gross income. There's a lot of flexibility with it where other New York State programs, there's not that flexibility. I know a lot of people think that you have to have HEAP or SNAP to be on it. It's not true. It is definitely a situational thing. We just help advocate for you and try to figure out the best way to get you in that program. There's also another program that pays for half of the cost of insulation and air source heat pumps. There's a ton of rebates and incentives that can offset the cost. Financing through New York State that can help kind of compensate for your budget. And it's a low interest loan, like 3.9%, which is so low compared to most other things. So whatever you need, insulation, heating, or cooling, we can do that for you and we can help you maximize your incentives. We also process all the paperwork for you, so you don't have to deal with the headache of getting the rebates and incentives. And we take that off of the bill, so you don't have to wait for it. It comes right off the bill and we fight with New York State to get it, or National Grid, or whoever to get it. My favorite really is the Empower program because a lot more people qualify for it than you think. The thing is that renters can also apply for this as well. The great thing about that is because they're paying into this National Grid bill or the energy bills, that's why everyone can qualify, renters or homeowners. If you move, you can apply again. If you need something additional, they say right now every 3 years you can reapply. However, they'll probably waive that because they change depending on the need that is needed in the communities. So we just try to make it fast, easy, and simple. We basically fill out the application for you. You just need to sign it. We tell you exactly what documents to send, simple and easy, and then we process everything for you. Has anyone ever not heard of the Empower program? Just curious. We do a lot of advertising in Utica, and I'm always curious to see how many people don't know about it because we've been advertising for as long as I've been around in the company. So I do a lot of advocating. I live, eat, and breathe this program, not because I have to, but because I did it myself. I got my mom into it and got her 13 grand worth of work done for free. So I got my neighbors into it. I love to be able to do this for anyone. If you have any questions after the meeting and I'm not available, I left flyers and my business card up there. My business card has my personal cell phone on it. I am in bed by 10, but I'm up at 5:30. So, so you can text, call, or email me at any time, and I will explain anything to you if you have any concerns. We do also offer a no fee for service calls for heating and cooling. We do try to take people in a priority order. Obviously, if someone has no heat in the wintertime, we have to take them first. If someone has a medical condition in the summer and they need air conditioning, we take them first. So we try to prioritize, but because we don't charge somebody to walk in the door if you have a heating or cooling need. I'm not sure if you knew that we had a free service for heating and cooling as well. We do, once your application's approved for the Empower program, we do come and see an assessment and see what's going on in the house. And we educate you on what's going on and what you need. And it's your choice if you want to proceed or not. But for me, if I could do it all over again and get another $10,000 of upgrades for my home, I definitely would. And if you don't qualify, you probably know someone who does. I always say word of mouth is the best way to get things out there. And telling people and educating people is what I do. Like I said, not because I have to, I constantly talk to people. It's a New York State wide program. You got family outside of here, tell them about it. It's New York State wide. I have family downstate that I tell about it all the time, Long Island and in Queens and all these places that are super expensive, more expensive than us, that definitely benefit from it too. So I just educate people about what it is and how to get you through it. It's an individual thing based on what you can get for your house. Sometimes there's things that aren't on the list, so to speak, that you can actually get upgraded to. It just depends on what your need is during the assessment. Anyone have any questions? A lot of information, so.
If I had actually somebody come last year to the insulation.
Mhm.
And it went through that program. But if I needed, like, just somebody to come over and check all the batteries or whatever, smoke detectors, and those kind of things.
I mean, we could have you apply again and we can double check everything for you because you can get smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, light bulbs, new thermostat. And there may also be one of the things that that person who came, those people who came through, if it
Can we
wasn't,
just come down and reapply?
you can reapply. We can try. They say every 3 years, but they still have been letting people come through, especially if they have additional money. My flyer's right there. Just take that and take my number and give us a call and we'll try to see what we can do. Sometimes they don't let people go through before the 3 years. It just depends on how much you utilize of that $10,000. Or if we show a need of getting something else done, they could actually have you reapply then. It's New York State. They kind of pick and choose their criteria and it changes so often. So I always tell people to call and we'll try. And if you can't get through right now, I'll keep your name on a list and I will call you. I literally just had municipal funding open that wasn't available. I live out in Alien and we have municipal electric and so does Mohawk and Frankfurt. And they didn't have financing for 2 years. I kept a list. I had 5 pages of customers. I called every single one of them the minute it opened up. I got 5 people in my block done. What a great feeling it is to see my neighbors being insulated and getting heating and cooling measures to be able to help the people that help me on a daily basis in my own neighborhood. So if you're doubting it and you're not sure, just call and we will try. We will try and we can try to advocate for you. And if we can't right now, we can put you on a list. And then as soon as it changes, because they change all the time, they say 3 years. In a few months when they're not getting all the applications in that they want, they'll probably open it up sooner. So it's just it's one of those things where they fluctuate. I anticipate this growing even more. They want everyone to go to the electrification thing, so they're going to want people to do these upgrades. So I have a feeling they're going to open up even more coming down the future. Did you have a question? I've never been told that I am quiet, so it's not working. Okay. So if you guys have any questions about heating, cooling, or insulating, my number is on those flyers. Call me and we'll have an individual conversation. I have a team that is dedicated to help people. So even if you question if your energy bills are high, even if we come in and do that assessment, that's going to help determine like if there's a problem that we can help resolve. Anybody else? Nope. This is recorded that said they couldn't hear me, right? Because I want to tell the people at work. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Shannon. This is for the Zoom. It's not,
Yeah.
the facility doesn't furnish us with any kind of microphones. So I'm gonna talk a little louder. Well, you get it for us and we'll be all set.
If you can get them to buy one, I'll gladly use it.
I don't know, few bucks.
That's-
Okay. Now what I'd like to do is we have 3 candidates running for the school board. We had a vacant position. When Bo called up, Bo works on the election board. He knows a lot about what's happening and things. We have one person that was running for it. Then all of a sudden there's 2 and now there's 3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask the 3 of them as you come up, if you just gather around this area, each one of you take a few minutes, introduce yourself, give us some highlights about who you are, where you are from, what your intentions are. And then we'll open it up to anybody that might have some questions out here on the floor, because we have a school board election coming up next month. Bo's got all kinds of signage up there talking about when the elections are, the school board budget, and all kinds of things. If you want to take a look at it before you leave. First one I'd like to have come up would be Braeden Nanna.
We'll do 10 minutes, please. 10 minutes, please.
And then questions after.
Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
questions afterwards.
All right, hello, I'm Braeden Nanna. Can everyone hear me all right? Braeden Nanna, I'm resident of North Utica over on Woodburn Drive. I'm a 2018 graduate of Proctor High School, graduated as valedictorian of my class. Went to Colgate and graduated in 2022, history and political science major. I ran previously actually for the same seat 5 years ago in 2019 as a freshman at Colgate. I ran after graduating from high school, not thinking that we were devoting the resources that were necessary to our student success the right way in this district. I'm a very proud Raider and Proctor graduate. I think we have amazing teachers and amazing students in this district, but we haven't always used our resources efficiently, especially under the previous administration. When I ran in 2019, during that process, I found out about some of the other issues surrounding the previous administration, possible crimes that were committed that we just saw sentenced in the last week. Because of that, I stayed involved in the district and in the process. I've been to pretty much every single board meeting over the last 5 years since running in 2019. If I was out of town, I may have missed one and watched the live stream to make sure that I was staying up to date with everything that was happening in the district. I worked hard over the last few years to see a change in the direction of the board and get new board members elected. However, there's still a lot of work that we need to do. A lot of the same policies that I advocated for 5 years ago still have not been implemented in the district, and that's why I'm running again today. First and foremost, I think one of the largest issues in this district is an unequal education across the district. Not every elementary school in this district is treated equally. They don't all have the same resources to fund their students' education. That's something that I would like to see addressed. In schools that have underperforming test scores and students that are not performing on grade level literacy, I want to devote additional resources to bring those class sizes in those schools below the district average, so that those students get the one-on-one attention that they need to catch back up to grade level, so that we're not penalizing them and that they're not at a disadvantage when they get to middle school and high school. We also need to address issues such as graduation rate has gone up over the years. This year, however, they are raising the Regents passing score from 50 back to 65. That will have an impact on the graduation rate. I think it would be foolish not to acknowledge that. And we need to be able to prepare for how we're going to address that issue in the coming years to make sure that the graduation rate does not decline and that we continue to improve year after year. We also need to address issues of chronic absenteeism and student discipline within the schools. This is a multi-pronged issue. This is not just about making sure that the code of conduct is enforced in the schools. It's also about giving students who don't have positive role models outside of school the activities and positive reinforcements that they need in the school community to remain active and positive members of the community outside of school. On these issues, I would like to invest greater resources and attention to our after-school activities to give those students an outlet within the school communities. I would also like to work alongside the city, if elected, to use school resources to improve community facilities. And I say this, it's a great initiative to improve the playgrounds at our schools, but we also should be giving our students public facilities, not only playgrounds, access to parks and other amenities in their local neighborhoods. The school district has some of those resources. The city has the facilities. Together, we can form a partnership to make sure that our students have those amenities at home. And I'll leave it short here so that we can move on to your questions after. But I'm also largely in favor of greater accountability, transparency, and community involvement in the decision-making processes. I would like to see an overhaul of district board committees so that the community has greater involvement, as well as making those committee meetings public so that you can see what discussions go on before final decisions are made. I would like to continue holding, if elected, these sort of town hall engagements so that you can directly bring your concerns and questions to a board member and they can be addressed to the board. And finally, I would like to overhaul the entire structure of the board. I think 5 years is too long of the term. I'd like to reduce to 3 years the term, increase from 7 members to 9 members, the board, 3 members being up for election every year so that you have a real say in the direction of the district. And I would like to tie those seats to wards the same way that the Common Council is tied to wards, so that every ward in the district has a board member that brings that ward's concerns to the board, and then there would be 3 at-large seats. So that is an outline of my platform. And if you have any questions, I would love to take them so that we can continue this discussion. Thank you.
Second, we got Brian Guca.
How's everybody doing? Hopefully you all can hear me as well. My name is Brian Guca, born and raised in the city of Utica. My parents still live in our childhood home that I was brought up in. And I love this area so much that I'd live just up the road now. I am a graduate of Proctor as well, 2006. My wife is a 2006 Proctor graduate as well. And, you know, we have every intention of staying in the area and raising our family in the area. And, you know, really I would say that's probably my, you know, my biggest platform for right now is to, if elected, get on the board and, you know, ensure that everything continues in the right direction that it's been going in. You know, as Braeden mentioned with the previous administration, I think we're all in agreement that there were some things that not everyone was happy with, and those all came to light, and that's great. But over the past few years, I feel like the board has done a tremendous job turning that around and, you know, really getting itself back on its feet, if you will. So, you know, again, if elected, I would like to carry forward a lot of the stuff that they have put in motion and are carrying in motion with this upcoming budget. I think Braeden mentioned, you know, quite a few things which they're actioning towards going into this election. You know, for example, the class sizes. There's with the increase in budget of faculty, they're looking to hire 50+ people and decrease class sizes K through 12. So I think that's a major stepping point there. There's plans in the upcoming budget to update all the, not all of it, update the infrastructure of the playgrounds to make it a, you know, a safer area for the kids to partake inside and outside of school. And yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where, you know, I've been growing a family the past 1.5 years, and we have that little bit of free time now where I can take this jump and join these board members in their passion of pushing the district forward and just in a better direction. You know, I think that's really my major point. I want to make sure that everything continues the way it's going, and there's, it's not a one step forward, three steps back scenario. We learn from our past mistakes and we just push forward in the future. I know I'm not nearly as, I'm not taking up quite the time limit, but if you guys do have any questions, I'm happy to hear anything, or were we gonna wait for?
We're gonna go around.
Okay, then I'm gonna respectfully bow out. Thank you, guys.
We have one more, Stephanie Anderson.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie Anderson. Okay. I don't have the most loudest voice, but I definitely have a powerful voice to say things that I have to say to everybody. I'm here to help create good change in the community. I am a person that puts my feet into the community. I interact with everybody. I have a year of 2023. I was with the AmeriCorps and when the local municipal housing, and I loved it. It got me into Utica, really deep into Utica, and I was helping with the homeless outreach. I was in there volunteering in local food pantry at times. I got to go into houses to really interact with the people and get an understanding of the needs that people have or the problems that they have as well to really enrich a person's life. I'm a person that likes to solve problems. I like to think outside the box, and I like to make things peaceful, and I like to make things run smoothly. And that is my goal for this to become on the board. I am new to this. I happened to just put in the paperwork today. So this was all new. I have no speech ready for this. I have nothing that I was ready prepared to say to anybody, but I'm here. And I have 3 years, I was on a PTA board, a vice president. And that really is where I'm going to be using my skills and my abilities to help this community, because in that community, I was able to put a lot of things with field trips. I'm about enriching the kids because happy kids and happy parents is a great community to be a part of. I want to bridge gaps between the parents and the schools because really it's a team effort with these children out here. And we have to remember that the parents are also our core. They go home to the parents. Things that they learn in class has to be carried over into the homes. And I'm here for that. I'm here to reach out to the people. I have no problem with getting into the community, meetings, arranging gatherings. I'm here to fundraise as well. I have wonderful ideas as far as fundraising and to really bring enrichment programs, assemblies to the schools so that there's not just in the classrooms. It could also be things that are brought in to educate them a different way because not everybody learns the same way. Other people learn differently. I'm also here to help with mentally disabled because I'm a person who has had issues in her past and I've gotten over my issues as far as that. And thank God I'm here today to be able to speak to you and in this capacity. I have a son. He graduated from Proctor last year, and he is now in the military. He's graduating this year in the military. I'm very proud of him, and he is a great example of when you have parents who are involved with your child, the outcome that can be, and that is a productive citizen. This is what we're trying to change over here. We are trying to get these children to understand that they do matter, that they can make a difference, and it doesn't just stop here at their hometowns. They could do it abroad, and I'm trying to get them to understand that if they apply themselves, then they can succeed in more aspects than they really think that they are able to. I did not expect to be up here today, but here I am today. And that is basically what I have to say because I really didn't have much to say.
We're gonna open it up. If anybody's got questions, we'll start down here with Braden. Let each one of them answer a question. And then we'll go on to the next one, right here.
This is for, Braeden, Mr. Nanna. I'm not quite sure I understood, part of, the goal. It was in reference to playgrounds for the school and playgrounds in the community. Could you, give us some more information on that, please?
So part of what I'd like to see is, we are in the midst of part of the capital project, but also part of the budget currently for this school year. It's going to, sorry about that, is going to be for the renovation of several school playgrounds at the elementary schools. I would like to see if possible, if we could use some of the old playground equipment and partner with the city to build playgrounds at local parks within the community, so that students not only have access to these amenities when they're at school and at the school campuses, but within their own local communities, to give these students something to do that's productive and positive within the community, to try to fight some of the issues that we see currently with some behavioral and absentee issues for students. The other part is investing in other local community amenities, using to see if it's possible, both from a legal perspective and financially, to use some of the school district funds that might be saved in other areas to subsidize future city investments. So if the city's building something that would benefit the community overall, that the school district might be able to subsidize part of that project to see it happen. Because what we have to realize is that our school community and our city community are not distinct. These are overlapping communities that make up the greater Utica community. So we all have an interest, and I think we all need to pool our resources together to make these initiatives happen.
Okay, so, basically it would be taking the equipment that we have now that's gonna be replaced and putting it in a city-owned property.
Yes, that would be part of it. We'd be working with the city to do things along those lines.
Okay.
And then also use monetary subsidies to help future projects happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Braden. Brian, you want to reply to that, or does somebody have a question?
There was anything
on
that
what
was directed.
Braden
And,
was saying?
one of you mentioned how the new trade school's coming, that's,
Yeah,
how is that coming? Is it progressing quite well or what?
yes, I can.
Yep.
Yeah, so the CTE, the new trade school, they're actually, from what I understand, the most recent news that I got is they'll be breaking ground the day after election, so the 22nd of May. And they're working on, I believe it's anywhere from, they're already working on filling 8 to 10 positions to help out in that new program. And I believe it'll be a 25-26 school year start.
This is going to be excellent because it's
Absolutely.
accessible to the inner city of Utica along with the other students, but I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, so obviously we need to start with our students first, right? But I think, down the line, a couple of years down the line, I think a great idea is that we could potentially have other districts or other school districts come in and use those resources, and they pay into our school district budgets, and we're able to recycle that money back into our district from the other surrounding districts.
Good idea, excellent.
So
Another question on that. Do you know how this will affect the association with proceeds?
yes, so we're cleared with BOCES. Essentially, how it will work is, for lack of a better term, we won't be stepping on each other's toes. So we won't carry the same we won't run the same programs within the CTE at Proctor. or Utica cities, I should say, that they do at BOCES. We may be up for, I would think another, down the line is a merger perhaps where we can offer both of those at each location. But to start, there's not going to be any overlap.
So monetarily, there won't be any conflict.
Correct. Yep.
Just to address this, this is, I to agree, but also slightly, there is some overlap here with BOCES. By just building the CTE program, we are taking money out of the BOCES system. That's the first point. By not sending our students, we are not paying for the tuition at BOCES.
Right.
So you can kind of think of it as a wash because
Right.
it's paying for that program. But also, there's not the same program at each school, but there's very similar programs if you look at the slideshows that have been presented by the district. There's a nursing program at one, and there's a health careers program at another. So there is overlap. I think it's a great opportunity for our district to build the CTE program. I've had some reservations about the way in which it was done. When it was initially proposed by Mr. Karam, I didn't think it was well thought out. The board has since made a lot of changes to what that program is. Part of it, unfortunately, is downsizing. Because such a long period of time went by, the price of building materials went up. Instead of the 3-story building, it's now going to be a 2-story building. Again, this is going to be a great amenity for our community, and it's going to have great effects on our students. But we need to think larger than just the CTE program, and we need to think larger immediately, not many years down the road. We need to be having better partnerships with MVCC, with Utica University, with other local colleges, to not just talk about the trades as they're naturally thought of, or even health careers, which doesn't fit super well into the trades. But Utica University has one of the best cyber security programs around. The drone infrastructure going on at Griffiths is state of the art. We have Wolfspeed coming, is here. We need to be partnering with these programs to get our students in the door while they're in high school. If they can take college classes at Utica University, they can get those credits and graduate quicker to fill in these jobs that we have and keep our local students in the area in really good high-paying jobs within cybersecurity fields, within the drone infrastructure at Wolfspeed. So it's not just about the CTE program. It's not just about BOCES. It's also using those same style of programs at other places and building those partnerships with Utica University and other places to get our students those dual credit classes that will help them graduate sooner and get really well-paying jobs.
I wanted to say something just briefly. I'm all for the trades. My husband and my son were both electricians and journeyman masters. They were excellent. The thing is, we are very, very short, and my son said this 15 years ago, that there is a shortage of electricians. We need the trades desperately. And to push that along with what you were just talking about, it's wonderful. It's so encompassing of everything and with the plans. And to correlate all this and to get it going, it's been remarkable.
Right.
It's a big, big thing for this area. And to build self-worth, that's another side of it. And these students, because when they work with their hands and they learn their academics well, they're number one to themselves.
Does anybody have a question that Stephanie can answer? Right out there.
Just to be for everybody, so the biggest decision that the board has to face coming up is who the next superintendent is going to be. So what is something you will prioritize when picking candidates for the next school?
I feel that the next person that should be is the person who's engaged with their community. They really need to hear the voices that the people have to say because there's no way to solve problems without hearing of their side of their situations. We have to really get a deeper understanding because we're not catering to just one. We're catering to different types of people. There is different types of nationalities, different cultures out here. It is not just one. That is a big bridge that we need to put together. The gap is big. And I feel that somebody who is cultured, somebody who has a little bit more understanding of other people's and taking consideration of their values and their understandings will really help bridge the gap as far as um, putting the pieces together to get enough people to participate in these new programs. Some people do not know what they like to do or what they're good at. That is the biggest question that I feel a high school student has is what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Do I really like what I'm learning here? Because a lot of times what we're learning in the schools is not really what we're going to be doing hands on. Trade schools are tremendous. In other countries, they push those on high school kids to really make productivity in their communities as opposed to just trying to teach them some math that they'll never use. It doesn't make any sense. I'm here to try to make sense of what we are really teaching our kids and also our teachers. We cannot forget our teachers because they are the ones who is teaching us to our children. Our teachers are very important. And let's face it, if we have unhappy teachers, they're going to spread it to our children here in this community. I'm here to try to create happy or areas where they can express themselves and not be scared to speak up because a lot of times a silent child is a child who has so much to say, but they're silent about it. I think that's it.
Brian, would you like to reply to that?
Yeah, I mean, so I think you brought up a lot of good points as well. And, I think to me, the short answer is, I would think I would say it's their history, right? Utica is a very unique school district. It's a giant melting pot, I guess is the best way to describe it. So, even if you have to expand your search party to find someone who's found themselves in a similar scenario or a similar setting, that's what you need to do. And I realize that you want to close this out sooner rather than later, but I think the biggest thing is not rushing this. The most significant thing is finding the right candidate, finding the person who is gonna look out for the teachers, look out for the students, look out for even the community, everyone in the city of Utica, right? And again, it's no easy task. Superintendent's a big job, and I think we just need to take as much time as we can to find that right person. I think it's that simple, to be honest.
Thank you. Braeden? Last few minutes
Yep.
there.
I'm going to reiterate, I'm going to emphasize everything that was already said because that's extremely important. It needs to be someone who understands the community, understands the problems that a city school district faces. But I think possibly the most important quality, and I'm going to go back to something that was said, I think at one of these very Meet the Candidate forums in previous years. There's this question of who answers to who. Does the superintendent answer to the board or does the board answer to the superintendent? And the superintendent is the employee of the Board of Education. So we need somebody who understands that their role as superintendent is as the chief executive. It is to put into place the policy that the board has enacted, not to put into place the policy. They need to be accountable to the board and by extension to the community. They need to be open to collaborative decision-making, involve teachers, administrators, parents, community members, and even students in the decision-making process to see what the issues that they are facing are and address them. We don't need another superintendent who's going to tell the board when they're going to have their meetings or when they're going to have their committee meetings. We need somebody who's going to come to the board meetings, listen to what the policy being enacted by the board is, and go and faithfully execute that policy within the district. And we need somebody who's going to be compassionate to the students and to the teachers, who understands what they're going through on a day-to-day basis, and not denigrate those feelings and not tell them how they should feel or how they should act or ram collective bargaining agreements down their throats because it's what's best financially for the superintendent or for the district. It needs to be what's best for everyone in the district. We need a Utica City School District that works for all of Utica, not just administrators who make six figures, or for the people who are already benefiting from the system. We need someone who will work for the most quiet voices, the people who have the least voice or the people who need an advocate the most. And that's what I'm looking for in a superintendent.
Folks, we've met the candidates. Well,
You said you attend most of the school meetings. Has there been any safeguards put in place? So in the future, we don't run into the same problem we did with the polar and Carol?
It's an interesting question. It's a very interesting question. I could probably talk for 20 minutes on that. I don't know how we could possibly put safeguards into place to stop what happened with Lapola and Karam when we don't even know the full extent of what happened with Karam and Lapola. We've heard about $12,000 worth of stamps that Karam has stolen from the district. By all reports, there's much more to it. There's people who are doing work on his house who work for the district. There was rampant theft of school district monies by all accounts. That's why I have called for years and continue to call for an oversight committee of the school board that will investigate these issues and put together a comprehensive report of what happened over the last 12 years to make sure that we can put in place policies so that it will never happen again, no matter who the superintendent is and no matter who's on the board. They've fixed a lot of the election issues, but it doesn't stop there. And to that point, I just want to emphasize this. The damage that he did over 12 years has not been undone. Teachers got involuntarily transferred to all sorts of positions. They got harassed out of jobs in the district. They have a right to have their voice heard and to have remedy be taken so that justice can be done for them. Justice is not just a punishing tool for those who committed the crime. Justice is also a tool to restore to those what has been lost. And I would like to see the board take up those cases to take out of disciplinary files things that were unjustifiably put there under Karam so that people can sleep well at night and not worry about what was done in the past. I hope that answers the question, at least in part.
Stephanie, you wanna make your remarks to that?
I believe that there should be checks and balances because let's face it, we're all human. We do not always make the best decision and choices that we do in our life. Yes, checks and balances need to be implemented with the new superintendent coming in. How that is, I am not exactly sure, but there will be a way where as long as we do our research and we get an understanding of really what kind of checks and balances need to be implemented, that is exactly the route that I would take.
You have a remark?
I mean, yeah, just, I guess, why not, right? Yeah, just, I mean, very quickly. Yeah, so again, like I said in my opening, you know, no one agrees with it. The only thing everyone agrees with is that it was wrong, right? You know, we'll continue to push past it. And, you know, to be fair, I think this seat opening up is part of that checks and balances moving out, right? We're replacing some of the board members that sat there that whole time with him. And that's what we need to do. We need to just take these steps moving forward. The past will always be the past, but we just need to make sure we put ourselves on the right track. And that's it.
Can I just add one more thing to that? So-
talking about checks
Amen.
and balances, and wasn't there a grievance committee for these teachers that before this would happen, that they would be transferred or out of jobs or whatever? That there was unfairness going on, to stop that in its tracks before it would get worse. That's key here, quality management, quality assurance, the whole business. That's important.
So let me address that and then move on to one other point too.
Good.
Yes, there was this, what I like to call the kangaroo court before. I helped write grievances for some of the teachers that were wronged. I sat down with them and helped them put drafts together. They were dismissed out of hand by the administration because back in the day, the teachers union had leadership that was in the pockets of Mr. Karen. They have moved on from that and elected new leadership that is fighting for their members. And things are being taken much more seriously now. But on another point, I would like to emphasize the fact that Bruce Karam did not start out as a villain. This is like now the new kind of like fallacy. Well, it can never happen again. Bruce Karam's a unique case. He was the principal of the Blue Ribbon School, JFK.
Good.
He was doing a fantastic
Yes, he
job
was.
for our students. Everything looked great. So the board went along with everything he said. Then he took advantage of their support and used it for his own public personal greed and public corruption. That could happen with anyone. We're going to have a new superintendent. They're going to be doing amazing things at the start. If we don't continue to question the decision-making process, this can happen again. And it's happened before in New York State. This is not something new. When you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars of a budget, things are ripe for political corruption. I read through education commissioners' appeals from decisions that people are applying for the removal of a school board member or an administrator in Westchester County, down in Long Island. And you see stories of board members or superintendents using district credit cards for personal use. It's not new. It happens across New York State. If we are not vigilant and question decisions, this can happen again, and I'm worried it will happen again if we are not watchdogs of the public money.
Thank you. We got one more. Okay.
Braeden, I just have a question for you. First of all, I'm really happy that you mentioned after-school programs. What are your plans or ideas to introduce and implement such programs? And how do you intend to keep them sustainable?
That's a great question. It's a great question because so often what we see is there's a new program instituted and then it immediately dies the next year. We rely on too many different funding sources is part of what the issue is here. We have principal accounts, we have PTO accounts, we have all of this money that's used sometimes for this, sometimes for that. What we need to do is make sure that these are board initiatives, that the board sees where the money is going every single year and spends the money into certain accounts for certain activities. Teachers actually have a lot of great ideas. Who would have thought that they would know what their students want? Not to keep going through, under the previous administration, they couldn't form clubs. You had teachers who wanted to form future educator clubs. Can't have it because it already exists on the books under the superintendent's brother, a club that no one's a member of because it doesn't exist in real life, just on paper to give a stipend. That's not happening anymore. We've moved past that. But what we haven't moved past is this idea that we can't form things from the grassroots because teachers don't have the seat that they need at the table. They have to go through layers to try to move something up into existence. A teacher might have to go to their building principal, who then goes to their central administrator, who then pushes it back down to a board committee. That's not a sustainable or efficient system. And this goes to not just after-school activities, but to almost all matters in the district. We should be having committees and task forces assigned by the board that teachers are a member of, that they bring issues directly to the board so that these policies can be discussed and we can figure out the best ideas to move forward on. And the board needs to take an active role in overseeing the implementation of these ideas. So, for example, to get back to after school activities, kind of, PTOs. There was an idea advocated at board meetings to have PTOs at every single school. But then the board did not follow up with the schools to see if these PTOs were being implemented, how their money was being sourced, and how their money was being spent. So you had schools that had PTOs on paper that were raising money, and then the money was being co-opted into principal funds. That's not the way that system was supposed to work. But no one followed up on it to see what the effects were. So the way in which you keep these programs going is by active involvement through the board and through committees. And in terms, I'm sorry, this is a really long and now roundabout answer. I don't pretend to have all the ideas of what students now want to see in after school activities, but the main thing that they want is space. They want space to gather. They want space to positively express themselves. We saw this when I was in school with students going to the teachers that they trusted most and going to their classrooms at lunch. Those students would not otherwise, some of those students would not otherwise still be in school if not for the connection with that teacher. So it's almost less about the topical interest of the group and more about the existence of the group itself and having good advisors for that group. I think you have a follow-up on that.
When you're saying like a chain of command, for example, I'm at my company, and we want to have an after-school program, and our principal was like, no, that was it. So she said no, she doesn't want to stay there after hours. Many of the pay janitor to stay. No. So when you're talking about a chain of command, are you talking about some of the teachers who yes, because the principal said no, then there's no after-school program. So
the principal is in charge of their building to a certain extent. Ultimately, the buildings are still the property of the district, which is overseen by the board. As far as I'm concerned, is if a principal doesn't want to stay after to do an activity, that should not be a barrier for that school and that community getting the activity that would be a good community asset. The board should find an administrator who's willing to go and oversee that event so that those events can still happen. So yes, you should be able to bypass principals and have direct communication with committees of the board to have these events happen.
Thank you. We're gonna let these two people reply with anything they might have to say. And we've hit the 1 hour mark, so we're gonna take a short break after we give them a chance to talk.
As far as for after-school programs, Heather, the after-school programs, I really feel that PTOs really should get implemented into the school board meetings. That does work really well as far as that, because I've been part of something like that where the PTOs was not involved in any of the meetings. And then when we did bring in the PTOs into the meetings, it went out to the community. It went out to the parents. It actually brought in more parents into meetings, into decision makings, and into a voice that was never heard before. PTOs are a wonderful avenue as far as reaching the parents and bridging the gaps, because we have to do that. This is what we're here for. We're here to figure out how can we make the community positive? How can we make the community grow? How can we make the community thrive? And that is through PTOs. We need to make sure that all schools have PTOs, because they do bring the spirit clubs. They can do after school programs. We were doing after school programs where parents were able to pay a fee. We then took on the responsibility of the children. They signed waivers, there's paperwork that's involved. And again, they too have the funding to also help students who cannot get on field trips. Field trips are something that people don't, we need these. This is the fun part of school. Every year, we're supposed to, all grades have field trips, because it kind of takes the burden of learning on the four walls every day. Sometimes it's nice to get some fresh air outside in our local community places, like the museums, like the zoos. We want to put money back into the community. We want to have fundraising with our community business owners. We need to do that part, and that I feel is more so bridging more of the gap, bringing our community closer to each other, because we have to realize that, again, we have different multiracial families. They're not all the same. And really getting a voice and really getting the PTOs to be involved, it really does help bring it all together as a whole. And then we can then really have a nice, good functioning district where there can be trust, where we can do things and not have to worry about people taking money for their own homes. That's just not, we're not living in that time anymore. We have to stop that. And I feel that PTOs would be good for after school programs, because we did do that.
Brian, last word?
I'll just say that I agree. I know we're running over, so I don't want to be a broken record and, wasting. I agree. We
Okay.
need all the after school programs. So
What we're gonna do, is we're gonna take a 5-minute break. There's water, there's cookies back there for everybody. Help yourself. Restrooms are back there. And then
Sorry.
okay,
Go ahead.
when we come back, hopefully the 3 people that are here tonight are gonna be around. And if anybody's got any further questions, please,
I'll forget.
here, you can write it down.
May I make a comment to what she said? And Brandon, the thing is, it's so important for these children will slack off, especially when they get into high school.
Yep.
There can be a period, and PTO is excellent.
Good.
Because the teacher is instrumental in conveying this information to the parents.
Exactly.
And the parents can get tough
Yes.
and use some constraint here with their child. This is the bottom line of this. Very, very important. PTO is excellent.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
The only thing I wanted to say, I'm not new up here at the podium. Like I said, I've done this for 10 years until this group took over. But one of the things I remember mostly towards the end of one of my last meetings, all across there in front of the windows, we had tables all set up. We had a school board meeting, and I think there was like 7 people here. And it went on, and everybody was bringing up good questions. We were getting all kinds of good answers. But I gotta say one thing, that was for, I think, 3-4 different seats they were running for. These 3 people up here tonight are running for 1 seat. These are your 3 candidates for 1 seat. And the decorum tonight, excuse me for saying this, I consider it a lot more appealing than what it was the last time. I thank the 3 of you very
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Take a break, folks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. How did we do?
Everybody take your seat. Wow, I feel like a judge. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Just a couple of announcements to make. As everybody knows, our meetings are always on the fourth Monday of the month, but the fourth Monday of next month is going to be a Memorial Day. So I'm quite sure everybody's going to be busy. So we've changed it to the third Monday of the month, which would be the 20th. We have a guest speaker, Rock Schneider from the Utica Kiwanis Club. He's going to be here to speak, and hope everybody can make it. Bring your friends, neighbors, everybody. We got 2 more speakers to go. First one is our North Utica council person in charge of most of North Utica, parts of East Utica, Joe Beatrice. Hey, Joe.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. First thing I do want to comment on the 3 speakers for the school board. You guys were outstanding. It was a pleasure to sit there and listen to you. Very, very good. And I wish you guys all the best of luck. You seem very knowledgeable on the issues. And it was very nice tonight because I was part of the last time where we didn't have a posse coming for one candidate and people clapping and screaming and all the nonsense that went on there. So that was very, very nice and professional. And I just wanted to thank you. The other, since I'm putting thank yous out, I want to thank everybody out there who's sent me a card, reached out to me, sent me a text or talked to me. It's been a tough month. My mom passed away on April 2nd. And so she was sick for a while. She's in a better place now. And I really appreciate people that are friends, that some people actually came to the service, came to the after hours, and other people just sent me a text or a card. And I appreciate that. So going on to right now, basically we're in spring cleaning mode and we're kind of reaping the benefits a little bit of some of the stuff we did last year. I want to talk about the Weaver Cemetery. That's been overgrown. It's been a total disaster for the last, I don't know, you guys probably know more than me, but we got a bunch of people in October. Actually, Tony Leone was one, he's in the room. He was one of the people that helped. There was 3 or 4 other politicians, which I don't care about. I want to give the kids credit. We went through, we cleaned that all up, and we put, what are they, daffodils? Are they you guys, right? And it's cleared out there. We're going to work a little bit now. I'm going to try to talk to the chief of staff, because he's got a lot of pull these days. We're going to try to see if we can get some of the small trees cut down inside there to open it up a little bit more. I know Councilman Williamson, this is basically his lead. He takes the ROTC kids and they do wonders. You know, I show up, I can't do anything because my problem here, but I buy them some pizzas and I hang out with them and do the best we can do. And we're going to try to, there was a bunch of stones. If you ever get over there and walk, the stones were, I mean, they're from the 1800s. They were all broken up. We have them on one side, and yes, she helps me. She's wonderful. So she was, yes, she was. And I'm sorry I didn't mention you, but her and her granddaughter, they were there all the time. But the Girl Scouts, Daughters of the American Revolution came. I hate naming people because you always forget somebody. And then, but anyways, we took all these broken stones. You couldn't even read them because their names were off. We kind of put them off to the side, and we have their names because you can look up in the history part of it who is actually in there. And Councilman Williamson, I believe we're going to have one big stone made with everybody's name on that. And somebody else said something about getting a bench.
We may do a bench with a plaque or the stone.
Right, one or the other. Right. So so that's a nice thing that's going on. Also, I'm gonna give the chief of staff there, Mr. Gentile, a lot of credit. He wears a lot of hats. And this past weekend, his Little League hat with councilperson Colosimo Testa, they're very much involved with the Little League. They had, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 parents there. They took, I think, what, 2 trucks of stuff out from Seymour Field and the North Utica. Girls softball there off of Keys Road. So they did great job there. Plus I went there and tried to get the kids food. They told me they didn't want anything. So I got away easy on that one. So, and then just lastly, I'll let you guys ask any questions, any concerns in the city. But lastly, you guys all know how to get a hold of me. This is the time of the year. There's pothole in front of your house. There is somebody's lawn was ripped up by a plow. Please call me or send me an email and I'll forward it to the people in power to get that taken care of. We don't start usually fixing their lawns or anything till like May when the dirt comes in and all that stuff. But that happens a lot, and don't feel like you're being a bother calling, because that's what I'm here to help you guys do. Okay. As far as paving the streets, we don't want to get onto that subject because we could pave 30 streets in North Utica alone, and that's probably not going to be enough. But I did see the paving list, and I probably have more streets on the paving list this year than I had in the last 3 years. So we are, getting some of them done. That's it. And again, if you do have issues, just because you're not on a paving list there, we have the pothole fillers. We also have the patch team, and where if something is bad, where, a lot of times the whole road doesn't need to be done, but there's a section, maybe a 10-foot or a 20-foot section that filling it with, the coal pack doesn't work, that you might need to have it blacktop. Not telling you I could do that. Tell you I'll call you back and I'll ask. And that's it. You guys give me some questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm at 1501 Redwood.
Yes.
And for the last 2 years, they haven't painted the fire hydrant.
Did
Ceiling looks ragged.
Redwood, you're right by that's right by Cedar Brook, right?
Yes.
So did you send me, are you
Yes.
involved with the email on Cedar Brook about the house and all that? Yeah, that's, just so you know, that is getting taken care of. I think tomorrow is going to be boarded up, and I believe that tree is going to be removed from there. As far as you know what, there was so many, I seen that was the last line of the email that you sent. I'll send that to the fire chief and ask that question. I was more concerned about taking care of the other issue you had up there, because it seemed like, yeah, and I have, believe it or not, I have one on the other side of my street. That lady that took care of me when I was young, she still lives there. She asks me about it all the time too. I'm not really sure. Mike, you know anything about?
I'm actually waiting for an answer on that too. Right now.
Okay. I believe a couple years ago when believe it or not, I asked the fire chief, I don't know if he said that they would buy the paint if the person who lived there wanted to. I don't have an answer for you. So we'll look into that. That's good. And you're right. I agree with you. It should be done. It's not really a hard thing to do either. No, it's not. So, but thank you. And thank you for that email. Because I love, there's my best eyes right there. This guy drives around North Utica in the middle of the night. He tells me things. He knows more about things than I could ever imagine, but he tips me off on it. I got eyes, because you can't be everywhere, and that's why I tell everybody, my routine is I don't call people. Okay. My routine is when you call me, if you can, I ask you, do you do email? Yes. If you don't, give me the information, I'll do it, but I want it on paper, because now I can forward it to the engineering. I can forward it to the DPW. Now, in a couple of days, if I don't hear nothing back, I got a paper trail and you can trace it down. Today, everybody's so busy, everybody carries a cell phone, but nobody answers the phone. So, so that's the way I could follow up on it. I can say, hey, I sent this a week ago. Where are we going here? All the answers aren't always good either. I mean, they're not always good, so let me go on. Anything else can do for any of you guys? Yes. And you did a lot of remodeling there too. You know what? I have one of my business cards on me, I think, or I have one in the car. I'll give it to you and you could do the same thing like I'm telling you. Send me something about that. I could forward it. Can't promise you anything's gonna happen with it. I mean, they may come in and pave it, but I don't, what's that? Is that Maryland Drive? Maryland? Yeah. And Deborah. What's that? Right, right. Well, we'll get it at least patched or filled in and stuff like I told you, back years and years ago, we started a paving program, I think in 2017, where we have to spend $5 million a year on paving. The reason they started doing that stuff, there was time, even going back to the N.U.N.A time, they went years and didn't pave streets, okay? And the problem is, it was always, nobody wanted to raise taxes. It was always election time. We can get by with it. We're so far behind now, okay, that we can pave, I think on the paving list, there's probably 30 streets maybe, if that, right? And you got to remember, a lot of the streets are two-way. So when they pave, say for like one of the busier roads, Herkimer Road, it's up one way, down the other. So what I'm trying to say is you could pave everything and it's still not enough how bad the streets are. And it's not just here, it's all over, you know, and we live in the area where the winter is. The winter kills the streets, the salt, the buses, and it just and I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you, it's just a battle that you can't win. You know what I'm saying? So we'll do the best we can. And like I said, you're never bothering me. Send me whatever you need to send me. And one thing I can promise you, I ran on this in 2019, that I will call you back. It's all I can tell you. I'm not telling you I can fix your problem, but you'll get an answer from me. Okay. And Mike Gentile, he's already sick of me emailing him, because you know what I do? I got a little game. I blind copy him on all the emails. So nobody sees it, but he gets it. So then he's the boss. I make him take charge. So yes.
Joe, does the city expect to get any part of the revenue that came in from the hockey games?
Well, we will get our share of the sales tax. I don't believe we get anything from the hotels. We get sales tax from there, but I think there's a bed tax that goes toward the county. Correct, Mike? Correct me, Tony, Mike. And so I believe we will get something. Yes. Yep. So, and that was, you know what? I'll let Mike talk on that. That was should be all of you should be pretty proud that you live in Utica after that event that happened. If you're a hockey fan, if you're not a hockey fan, but what they did, and it's kind of a shame that the governor of New York State never showed her face here for one day. It's kind of a shame, but okay. So I'm good. Feel free. I'm gonna go get you. I'm gonna go out to the car and get you a card right now. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. So, yeah. What happened? They didn't do your. Oh no.
Okay, now we're gonna hear from our county legislator who covers North Utica, part of East Utica. And he's also our new mayor's chief of staff, his right-hand man.
Feel like it's been 5 years already.
Mike Gentile, but first of all, I'm gonna need Mike.
This is the easiest way to lose votes.
Then it won't be Mike. I'll go lose the votes for him.
Yeah, I don't mind.
For 50/50, we got $33 for the winner. The last three digits are 248.
Perfect. I have to do it.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. So I get 7,000 emails a day, and 6,000 of them are from Joe Beatrice. So he does. He really does. So anything that you guys tell him, he does immediately send the emails. Of course, I'm in a place where I read those and am able to get those done right away. I do have some good news for the Park Edge area. We are prioritizing the new lighting. There's been some lighting issues over there. That is something that is, we're working on through a grant to get all that taken care of right away. Just quickly on the roads. So when we looked at the paving stuff, it very quickly came out that there wasn't really a very good system in place on what roads were being done, why. We're working with the county planning department and stuff that, every road in the city is gonna have a ranking 1 through 5. 5 is going to be the worst roads and 1 are gonna be the best roads. The good news is we're gonna prioritize the 5s as the worst roads. The bad news is there's a lot of 5s. So we're working on it, but just know like that list that's coming out is truly an independent department looking at it and rating them as the worst roads. So we're working through that. Like Councilman Beatrice said, that money goes very quickly. And it's just kind of a disappointing thing. But couple things, we'll shift back to county stuff. Everything did really go very well with the international hockey tournament. A lot of collaboration through UPD, County Sheriff's Department, City of Utica DPW, County DPW. It really was a team effort. Oneida County obviously took the lead, but the City of Utica, filled in a lot of blanks. I am very interested to see, what the sales tax revenue stuff looks like, what that bed tax stuff looks like, and really see what it brought in. I am a fiscal conservative, but I also understand that, events like that, it's okay to break even, and it may be okay to take a little bit of loss, especially in a first one, because that's going to create a lot of opportunities down the road. So it was a good thing. It was a good event. Hopefully you guys got to go see some games. I really thought it was very powerful and stuff. A lot of school-aged kids got to go to games, and that was, a really good thing. Because 1, a lot got to go to games that they would have never got to go to, and 2, it created an atmosphere that I went over for a couple of the 11 o'clock games that wouldn't have existed if you didn't have the kids there and stuff. So that was good, and that was collaboration again with the county, the Utica School District, and everybody kind of coming together for that. I don't. So that's all. They're kind of working through that. I know that the USA games were all pretty packed.
44,113,
Yeah.
I think.
So the gold medal.
The other one was 4,031.
Yeah. So that, like, the 11 o'clock games were a lot of the kids. Unfortunately, some missed out because we had some bad weather. I don't think many people were on the Ferris wheel, but that was.
About 2,000 kids a show.
Yeah, so like I said, that they're gonna go through that. I'm very interested to see, where those numbers break down, and what kind of money it really brought in. Of course, sales tax goes, everybody gets a piece of the sales tax. Councilman Beatrice was right about the bed tax. The bed tax is a county function, and that all that money goes back into your tourism and pretty much paying for the Nexus. But really, like I said, it was a really, it was a good event. Other stuff with the county right now, the county executive announced he's going to do his state of the county address early May. But yeah, any questions? Yeah.
Monthly minutes, and back in January, the county signed with N.U.N.A Sports Council to promote this hockey tournament.
so it was, yeah, so that was, so it's actually up to 2 million, which probably means they used every dollar of it. I'll just, but just for clarification. Yeah, so they took over a lot of the marketing stuff. They brought in a lot of the staff for it as well. So that's one of those things where until we really see a number breakdown of sales tax, bed tax, and all of that, we're really not going to know. I'll tell you, and I said it here before, that was probably one of my first 3 votes as a county legislator, and it was a stressful one because $2 million for something like that is obviously a difficult thing. But you know, like I said, we'll see kind of where that comes in. They were gone to because they handle or have handled a lot of the stuff in Lake Placid and a lot of the international events. But they did a lot of marketing, a lot of the sponsors of events and stuff too. So without them, I don't know if we could have handled it. So I think it's just one of those things. So hopefully we see those numbers, we see ticket price, we see ticket sales, all that stuff, and we can say, oh, it was a no-brainer, or you know, it should have been $1 million, or it should have been less. Anything else? Cool. Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah.
Just want to remind everybody that next month's meeting is the 3rd Monday of the month, not the 4th. And we will have one. I'd like to thank all of our guests for coming out tonight. Our 3 candidates. Also, Shannon Wheet from the Standard Insulating. I just wanted to say one thing about the hockey tournament that went on. I went in 1980 up to Lake Placid when we had the United States take the gold medal for hockey. And I thought that was probably one of the most exciting games I've ever seen in my life. I didn't go to any of the ones in Utica, but I did get on the NHL network and watched it. And I'll tell you, those last 2 games, they were just unbelievable. These girls were fantastic. If they ever came to Utica, I'd like to see them play against the Comets. They probably beat the Comets 20-1. I mean, I've been going to the Comets games. I've been going to games since back in the 1980s. Been a season ticket holder. Back when Marty Brodeur used to play here. I followed a lot of people that went on to be professional hockey players. But I'll tell you, I just can't stop talking about it. The girls are great.
Add something, because I watch the games on the NHL network also.
Yeah.
And those announcers couldn't say enough good things about Utica.
Yeah,
Every
that's
other
all they
channel.
talked about was Utica's great.
The people from other countries were quite receptive to you.
Oh, yeah.
They were very complimentary about the way they were treated.
And they loved the food.
They had to feel secure because there was a fortune spent.
Well, when I was going to the Comet games, these girls from all these different countries, they were practicing over at the Nexus Center. And all of a sudden there was a guy takes tickets at the door, and I always stop and talk to him. And he says, the Chinese are here tonight. Well, way up behind me, there's all these.
Chinese were all over downtown.
But then every game they had a different team of girls from all over the world coming to the Comet games. And it was very interesting. And when they announced it, I mean, the whole crowd just stood up and gave them a standing ovation.
Oh, and are you aware that the girl that scored the winning goal for Canada was the Colgate?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, even the girls from the USA team, this one's from Rochester, this one's from here. There was a lot of them from New York State. Of course, New York State's a big hockey team, town. Yeah.
Yeah, they were both extremely close games.
I loved watching, I really did. Well, folks, like I said, our three guests that were from the school board are here. If anybody's still got some more questions for them, feel free to stop by and talk to them. And with that, we're gonna close the meeting. I feel like the guy in the Congress.